Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our session on Hadoop components and market trends. So, in our today's session, we will be talking about what are the job trends in the big data space, and we will look at how you can leverage your existing skill set into the big data domain. For example, you might be a DBA, you might already be a programmer, or already might be a system admin. So where you all can fit into a big data domain, right? And believe me, it will be a very uh, to the point and a very neutral overview of the things, right? So I'm not here to market my course or anything very specific to big data. This is more of a interactive session to help all the youngsters or all the people who want to know what big data is and what job options we have. So all the participants, they are kept on mute by default. They cannot talk. If they have any questions, please type in. I will broadcast it, right? I will broadcast it for all the participants so that they know the context what I'm talking about, and we will take things thereon. So our session will last approximately about 45 to 1 hour, 45 minutes to 1 hour, or we might go beyond that depending upon what kind of questions come in. So let's get started and look at what all things we'll be talking about and what is the most important thing we'll be looking at. So little bit about myself. My name is Gurmukh. You can call me Aman because many people find it very difficult to say my name, especially from the Western world. So you can call me Aman. I have around 12 years of experience, mainly into infrastructure side. So when I say infrastructure side, it is about scalability and performance tuning, network planning and design. And for the last 4 years, I have been into Hadoop. So I'm working into as a mainly into the Hadoop infrastructure side, not as a developer. I have an MTech in computer science, and I am also an architect from Red Hat, certified architect from Red Hat. I am certified on two distributions of Hadoop, which is one is Cloudera, another is Mapr, and I occasionally do contributions to the Hadoop Bugzilla. Also an author of a book on monitoring Hadoop, which is by Packet Publishing, which is doing quite good in the market. So this is a little bit introduction about myself. So let's get started. So the agenda for today's talk will be before setting up the market trend and other things. It is very important that we are clear that what is big data. We set the agenda, right? We set a platform before we go and talk about. So first of all, we will look at what is big data, what are the challenges it poses, and we will look at okay how Hadoop comes into that picture to solve it, and then we'll look at Hadoop components where everybody can fit into it. Right? I will talk about various component it has, what are the skill set needed to be a part of that component, and then I will talk about market trends. So big data, as everybody has heard this term, quite quite a hot technology in the market, and everybody is talking about it. So when we say big data, right, the first term which strikes our mind, the big, right, we say big data. So first thing which comes to our mind is the size of data. When we say large amount of data, we think in terms of big data, but that's not the only thing, right? There are a lot of other things which needs to be addressed before classifying it as a big data. So data sets that are too large and complex to manipulate or interrogate with standard methods or tools, right? So it is used to describe the exponential growth of data, both structured and unstructured data, right? In the last few years, there has been a tremendous growth in the size of data, the unstructured data and the semi-structured data. Right? Structured data has been there for a very long time. We have been organizing it into RDBMS, but over the last few years, due to social media, e-commerce, right, user analytics, the personalization, right, a lot of things. So a lot of data is now making sense. So we look at what this data is coming from. So it is not that data was not there before the invent of big data. Data was already there. Data was always there. But thing was, we were not capturing it. Many times we were dropping it. For example, let's take an example of analytics, right? Today everybody talks about analytics, big data analytics, user analytics, personalization, right? A lot of things. But if you look at the companies like Boeing, GE, these all companies have been doing data collection for their sensors for ages, right? For decades. So it's not that this is something new, but it has given us a new perception, a new insight into what we do with that data. So it is important to understand what are the sources of data. Enterprise systems, like now we are not sitting in front of a system executing any command manually or doing any manual task. You might have a server running with a simple web server. It is generating logs. We don't need to do anything to generate logs, right? It is just writing logs whenever a request hits a web server or any error comes. So there are lot of logs being generated. Logs could be for very small events, and due to automation being in place, the amount of data which is generated is huge, right? So you don't need to worry about, okay, that at 10 a.m. today or 10 p.m. in the night I have to wake up and execute something. You can automate everything and let the system take care of. So you need to keep a monitoring system in place which gives you an idea how your system is behaving, or so that you can be proactive. For example, let's say if I'm running one server, if I'm doing a log collection, I can use that for multiple uses. For example, for application behavior, to understand what all users are accessing my system, what is their browsing trends, like are they from Mac, are they from mobile devices, which geographical location they're connecting from, right? A lot of things I can collect. I can look in terms of security. Is there any attempt being made, like DDoS, for example, too many requests coming from a single IP, right? All these things I can look for any specific browsing behaviors, or I can build up a map for my site. For example, a user goes from which path. So thing is, the number of devices which are connecting to the internet are increasing day by day. A single user might have a mobile, he might have an iPad, he might have a laptop, he might have a desktop, and other telemetric devices, maybe a health watch, maybe a wristband, a jobong kind of thing, which is connected onto the internet, and it is pumping up data regularly. So the amount of data generated per user is increasing enormously. So we need to make use of that. So another cases of big data, right? There are n number of cases, but some of them like healthcare, aviation. So whenever a flight takes off, there are a lot of data which is collected in terms of, let's say, the load carrying capacity, the fuel consumption, the round trip time, the seat preferences, right? The multiple sensors for weather, so which will help in better planning, better round trip time, better user experiences. Another example, for example, hadron collider, generating an enormous amount of data every few seconds. So let's say every 3 seconds it generates 1 petabyte of data. So how will my traditional system will take care of that? I cannot have a single system to ingest that much of data in a short span of time, right? I have to have a specialized system and a distribution of data so that I can quickly process it. Another very good example is the Aadhaar project. So it is a project which is run out of India, which is a project to identify each citizen of India and give them a unique ID with their name, address, and all their personal details. So it's a database. So currently they are using Mapper. So initially they started with Cloudera, then they moved into Mapper distribution of Hadoop. Right? There are a lot of technicalities why they moved. And analysis. For example, let's say you visit a site. Let me give an example. Let's say I go to buy some stuff for myself from the market. Let's say I go on to buy a shaving cream. Let's say I go to Big Bazaar or any of the retail shops. I buy it, and with that, they swipe my membership card. So, what actually they are doing when they're swiping my membership card, the purchases which I have made, they are put onto the system. So, what happens? Let's say if I go on to visit a website after a few days, maybe after 1 day or after 2 days, I visit a site. I will start seeing a ad for shaving cream coming onto my browser. Why? Because I purchased that into a when I went to a retail shop. How that my mapping is done? This is all ad targeting. So the system, due to privacy, it will not know that I as a particular user went there, but it will do a cookie matching. There will be a normalization of data, and it will say, okay, this cookie ID is this user went to market, bought this, so show him this ad, right? There will be an anonymous data in between, but it will be firing to the right user depending on the cookie matching. For another example, let's say I launch an ad campaign, right? Ad campaign for, let's say, any of the products which man uses, right? So let's take an example again of shaving cream or aftershave lotion, and I say to any of my uh, ad targeting networks, let's say either I approach Facebook, Google, or Yahoo, and I say show 1,000 impressions to the users. So obviously I will create a category. For example, there is no point of for me to show a shaving cream ad to a woman. If a woman is browsing the internet, there's no point to show her an ad for shaving cream or a aftershave. So I have to do gender identification. So we have to launch a campaign. Again, I can segment it according to the age group, according to the demography, according to the gender, and multiple things. Same, it could be with a sports car, right? So whom you should be showing a sports car ad? Will you be showing when a kid logs in, somebody under the age who cannot even have a driving license, or you will be showing to someone who is very old, into 70s or 80s, right? So all this segmentation has to be taken care. So when we do this, so you need a platform which can quickly make a decision for you that which ad should be fired to which user. Another very important use case, bank fraud detection. Let's say I buy stuff from the market using my credit card, and there is a trend which I am used to. And let's say every other day I spend $2 or $4, right? Or let's say in the morning I go to office, I go to McDonald's, I swipe my card for, let's say, $4. In the evening, I again go for tea break, I swipe my card for, let's say, $6, right? So there's a trend going on with my card. So all of a sudden, they see a transaction of $500 or $1,000. So how will you find out whether this transaction is genuine or not? Is it an anomaly? Somebody is trying to misuse my card, right? So you need a predictive system which can quickly do the trending on this and make a decision on you, right? So when we say big data, it's an umbrella term. A lot of things comes into it, not only Hadoop. Because Hadoop is a batch processing system, we need sometimes real time system. Like it may be a Spark, a combination of a Storm, right? Multiple layers. Another could be stock exchange. You want to bid on a stock. So how you will bid on a stock? You cannot just blindly go and bid. You need some historical data. You will watch a particular share trend over a period of time and see how it is behaving. And you need some data. So where that historical data will be coming from? Your big data systems. So before big data, it was not there that there was data was not stored. Data was stored, but the analysis was not done. For example, if you want to pull out a report saying how this share did over last 2 years of time according to the particular day of the market or according to the festive season, does any share go up and down during Diwali or during Christmas? Is there a trend to it? Right? So all these analytics and very fine granular analytics and approach I can do with big data. So the growth of data is huge, right? So sensor devices, as I'm saying, these sensors were already there, like whether they're weather sensors or the flight sensors or any special kind of sensor, they were already there. But now what we have started doing, we are making the devices smart, right? They can make decisions for themselves. For example, many companies are doing. So let me give you an example from Cisco. Many other companies are doing, but Cisco, what Cisco is doing, they have their devices at multiple premises on customer premises. For example, they might have a router, they might have a switch, and each of the devices have multiple components. For example, it might have a slot for a some IO card. It may have a slot for doing some specific routing or doing some caching or some firewall module. So you have to find out the health of them, how the devices are performing. So what Cisco is doing, rather than waiting for the customer to come to you and say that my device is not working correctly, what Cisco is doing, proactively they are finding out any errors. Let's say there is some slot which is behaving in an awkward manner, so they will proactively say, please replace this because it is faulty, or this particular component might in fail in few weeks, so please replace it. So this gives a very good customer experience. So when I say big data, the three V's of big data are very important. So it's not about the size of data, it is also about the velocity and variety of data. Velocity means whether it's a batch processing or real time, right? What is the influx of data? And variety means it is a video, text, streaming, structured data like RDBMS, or unstructured data like emails, text, right? Semi-structured could be JSON, XML, right? What kind of data you have? Very important to understand. I cannot say that I will set up 3-4 systems or 3-4 platforms. One platform for processing text data, one platform for processing videos, one platform for processing pictures. It will be very expensive and not practical. So I need a system which can, or a platform which can address that. So Hadoop gives you an answer for that. So what Hadoop does, it does a distribution. For example, rather than having a one system do the work, it distributes the work, subdivides the task, and distributes into multiple nodes, right, into a smaller chunk, giving you a better throughput. So here I'm trying to give an example. For example, if I have to write 1 TB of data on a single system with 4 drives, and each drive is a SATA disk. So SATA disk has a write speed of, or the read speed of, 100 megabytes per second. So at the max, I can write 400 megabytes because 4 disk drives in parallel. So it will take approximately 4 hours for me to write 1 terabyte of data. But let's say if I increase the number of systems, I put it to, let's say, 100 systems, each with 4 disks. So now my bandwidth will go up. I was having 100, 400, now it's 100 times 400 Mbps, right? So it might be hardly 4 minutes for me, right? But there are a lot of details here, right? So I'm just giving you an overview idea that it will distribute, break the task into smaller parts, distribute across multiple nodes. So important thing to keep in mind is Hadoop is a framework, means it's a collection of multiple tools. It's not a single tool. So that allows for distributed processing of large data sets across cluster of commodity hardware. So the word commodity here is kind of a misnomer. Commodity, do not think it's a desktop. When I say cheap hardware, it does not mean the desktop at home, right? So what they are saying, you do not need the enterprise class, the expensive dedicated, let's say a Spark or an Alpha or an Athenium box or a Blade server, right? I do not need that, those ones. I can run them on a decent hardware. So this example is from Yahoo. There's a rack having 40 servers, 40, with a switch on top of it, the structured cabling, the power supplies, right? So I can have multiple number of nodes. So the idea behind is horizontal scaling. Have more number of nodes and distribute your workload. So as I'm saying, Hadoop is an ecosystem. Means you have a file system, which is an Hadoop distributed file system. You have a processing layer, or we call this the brain, which is yarn or the MapReduce. I may have various tools. For example, I want to ingest data into Hadoop. Let's say I want to ingest Twitter feeds. I want to ingest my text files. I can use Flume. If I want to deal with structured data like RDBMS, MySQL data, I can use Scoop. I can have Uzi. Uzi is similar to a cron tab, but does a lot of other things. I may have a pig. Pig is a scripting language based on Erlang. Similarly, I can have multiple tools. For example, I can have an HBase, which is a database, NoSQL database. I can have Hive, which is a SQL query engine or a warehousing solution. So what is the main point? There are multiple. Every day there will be a new tool coming. So let's say I'm a DBA. I'm a MySQL DBA and Oracle DBA. I want to do a transition to Hadoop domain, right? So important word is transition. Transition means I'm already working somewhere. I already have some skill set. So in this case, I'm a DBA, let's say. So I do not need to worry about what is name node, what is data node, how Hadoop cluster is working, right? It will be good if I know, but I don't need to worry. So what I can do, I can use Hive, which is a data warehousing system. Using Hive, I will get a Hive prompt where I will still do the same query which I was doing in MySQL. For example, select star from EMP. At the backend, it will be doing MapReduce. I'm not concerned about that. So it is reducing the learning curve for an end user. Similarly, if I'm a scripter, let's say I'm doing a bash scripting, or I want to write some program. I do not know Java. What I can do, I can use Pig. Very simple functional programming. Erlang syntax, I can write a Pig program. Machine learning, I do not need to reinvent the wheel. Just use the existing algorithms, maybe a linear regression or any kind of algorithms or models. I can use the existing system. So I'm carrying the same skill set, right? So important point is transition. So this is the slide which is very common in the market. You might have seen this many times, especially from the training institutes. What they will say is show you, they will show you this graph which says the market is going up and there is a demand for jobs, and this is a profession which is high in demand. True. But what these graphs are not telling, or what they are not telling you, is that whom this demand is for. This demand is for the people who already have some skill set. So it's not that I will, let's say I want to become a Hadoop admin. but I've never used Linux in my life, or I've never worked as a system admin in my life. Not possible, right? Not possible. So demand is similar to how the demand works in any skill set, similar to any commodity demand. If you have less supply of a commodity as compared to the demand, the prices will go up. So same is happening with Hadoop or big data. You have very less people in this domain, that's why the price is up. The salaries are high. But salaries are high for whom? Not for a fresher who is coming out of a college and he says, I want to be a Hadoop admin. How you can be a Hadoop admin? You don't understand the criticality of a production system. You have never seen a production system. You have never worked in a production environment. You don't know how Linux system works. So how can you be a Hadoop admin? Right? So let me give you a reality, which many institutes will not tell you because they are into money making business. So my point of this session is to make the youngsters aware that what is the truth. It is up to you whether you want to go it or not. But let me tell you some very straight away some facts. This is a very important line by Mike Pluta. What he says, the amount of nonsense packed into the term big data doubles approximately every 2 years. And very true. Many companies, they have no clue what big data is. They're doing it because other companies are doing it. Or they want to sound cool. They will just put in their site or in their profile on LinkedIn, big data, experts in big data. Because they don't want to be left behind from this keyword of big data. But I do not mean to say that there are no good companies. Many good companies are there. Some pioneers are into this. For example, the Yahoos, the Facebook, the Google, the Twitters, right? And many startups. They're doing very well, right? But majority of them have no clue what they want to do with it. So when you see somebody saying there's a shortage of people, big data people in the market, right? They do not tell you the difference which I have told you here on the slide. They will simply say, when you go to an institute or anywhere for training, they will say there is a shortage of people. People are looking for big data people. Shortage is of skill and talented people in the market, not of the certified people. You understand? Certified and skilled are not the same thing. Certified and knowledgeable are not the same thing. Anybody can be certified, especially in India, where you can get certificate on every corner. So this is a big confusion which youngsters have. Many times people will approach me saying, I'm certified in this, I'm certified in that, but I'm not getting a job, right? Certification is not a guarantee for a job. Certification might land you a position for the interview table, right? It might land you an interview, but from the interview to the job, you have to know it. But what has happened in the previous time, the companies have a really bad experience with the people. They will call in the certified people and they will all be crap, right? I'm using that word. They will all be crap. They will not be knowing even the basic thing. So what it happens is the people who really know, they are suffering. So don't think certification is a guarantee for a job, or it will get you a job. End of the day, it is knowledge that matters. But certificate has their role. I'm coming to that, right? Certifications are important if you know what these certifications teach you, right? Not just a mere value of getting a certificate from any of the vendors. So how we decide on a career, which is the highest paying job, right? Not on our interest and ability. So ability can be developed, no doubt, with practice and right training. But what we will do, we will go to Google, search highest paying job. SAP, Hadoop, big data will show up in the first few categories. So we'll say, oh my God, this is the highest paying job. So let's be a Hadoop developer. let's be a Hadoop admin. But what they don't realize that the jobs which they are showing are for the transitions. For example, if somebody is saying Hadoop admins are getting 40 lakhs a year, it does not mean you go to a course, do a 1 year course from some institute, you will be starting getting 140 lakh, 40 lakhs. You will not even get a job. Why? Because you don't know the basics. You have never worked on a Linux system, you have never seen a production system, and you're going for a Hadoop admin course. So the best thing is first build your skill set, then go for Hadoop. So big data is an umbrella term. A lot of things feed into it, but I'm given few classifications based on the job titles or how you see the job postings. For example, Hadoop administrators, developers, these data scientists, right? So let me give you a few examples. For example, if you want to be a Hadoop administrator, you should have worked on Linux. Why I'm saying Linux? Most deployed servers, enterprise servers, especially for Hadoop. Hadoop runs on Windows, but rarely. Microsoft Azure and all that, they are using it. But if you go anywhere, it runs on Linux. CentOS, Red Hat, Ubuntu maybe. You should know how to tune them. Because when you say I'm running Hadoop, but you don't know how your Linux file system works, what is a disk scheduler, right? How to tune your file system, what is a file descriptor, what is the buffer, right? You will not be able to work on Hadoop. You should know basics of networking. Very important. Right? Then only you can be a good administrator, Hadoop administrator. Similarly, for Hadoop developer, you have never programmed in any of the languages. You want to be a Hadoop developer. In the case of a Hadoop developer, still you can start as a fresher, but not in Hadoop admin, because in Hadoop admin, nobody will let you handle a production system, critical system, if you have not seen or worked in a critical environment. Because even if you're joining as a, let's say, a system admin, nobody will let you handle the critical servers. They will give you, let's say, read only access where you can go monitor logs, look for alerts, maybe restart some non-critical services. It will take some time to transition to be a really a production engineer. Forget about being a Hadoop admin. But in Hadoop developer, okay, the barrier to entry is little bit lower. You could be a very good Java programmer in your college, very good Python programmer in college, and you can get into it. But still, if you have not seen the scale of things in a production environment, for example, you are writing a Java code to transfer 1 KB file across system, and you classify yourself to be a Java programmer. And when you go in an organization where you have to transfer, let's say, 1 TB of data, your program will fail because you never imagined or never visualized the scale of things. Right? It comes with experience, no doubt. It comes with experience. But what I'm trying to say, do not fall for people when they say this is the highest paying job, come to us, train with us. So my aim of this seminar is, or this the reason for interacting with you is, I get a lot of queries from people. Which field I should take? What should I do? So that's why I have come up with this talk. I also do trainings into Hadoop, but I do not train everyone. I train only people who have worked in certain areas for certain time. I ask for their resumes, I interview them. Right? If somebody says he's a Linux admin, I will interview him. If he says he's a Linux admin for last 3 years, I will see what he has learned in 3 years. If he has not learned anything, don't put him into Hadoop because bad for the community. Bad for the community. So let him prepare there. But what I do, anybody is free to reach out to me, and I will tell to the best of my knowledge. There are a lot of things which I have no clue about. I do not know. I will find an answer for that or redirect them to the right people. But still, you are most welcome to reach out to me. You can drop me an email, trainings@netzilon.com. I can share you my number. You call me, discuss about what is your plan. Similarly, for a data scientist, if you want to be a data scientist, you will see this is being advertised as the sexiest job of the current century. You hate algorithms, man. You want to be a data scientist. You have no clue about what is a business, right? Very important to understand. If you are an architect in a company, technical architect in a company, you cannot say, oh, my gut feeling says that. You have to have a strong backup, a strong backing by technical reasons. You should test out things and give a solid technical reasons. Similarly, if you don't like databases, you have never seen a database, never written a query, and you are saying, I want to be an HBase administrator or a Hive administrator because these jobs are paying high. You are on the wrong path, which many training institutes are doing and misguiding people. So please, okay, here's a typo. It's a MongoDB, not MongoDB. MONGO, MongoDB. Right? All these are NoSQL DBs. So the key to success is there is no key. It is about your interest. So do what you love or love what you do. So most of the time happens like being a student, we find up a job because we end up in a job, we are finding struggling to find a job, and then once we get into a job, we are doing something which we might not like. So either what you do from the very first day, get into something which you love or start loving what you do, then only you will be successful. So the hype is big data is the only technology. Many times you will see people writing blogs, big data is the future, big data is the only technology. No doubt big data has a very bright future, but the core skills are important. Your Java skills, your Python skills, your system admin skills, your database skills, they will be in demand always. Doesn't matter where big data goes. They will be your bread and butter in your heydays. Never let your core skills get rusted. Big data is a bubble. It is going to burst very soon. And it is also good because it cleans the market of the overnight experts. But you should have some core skills. You should have, let's say, very good in Python, very good in Java. Doesn't matter. You are not writing big data programs, but you can write any other application, maybe standalone application, web application, anything. Very important to have core skills. Build your core skills, not fast by buzzwords. So with this, I will be ending my session. You can reach out to me with any questions you have on my email ID or give me a call. I will be more than happy to answer your queries. Okay, I have a question here from Vikas. So Vikas is asking, what about how this market salary predictions are done, or how we say that the salaries are high? Oh yeah, so that's what I was saying, right? So let's say you go to an institute. I will not name any, who are into big data training or analytics training. What they will say, we will train you into an analytics or we'll train into big data, and your future will be secured, right? But when you go to them, they will not tell you that this salary which they are saying 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs, it's not for big data skills. It is for the skills which you have learned before reaching to a platform where you can understand big data, right? Very important to understand this, which they're paying you for the skills which you have acquired over the years to better understand big data. Price tag is for that, not for big data, right? So thanks very much. Please feel to reach out to me if you have any queries, and I will be more than happy to help you out. Thank you very much. Have a nice day, and I will be uploading this video on the meetup as well, the Chandigarh meetup. So the main point was interacting with the people from the Chandigarh region, especially the north region. So here the people are cut off from the rest of the world, I feel, because if you go to colleges or in that area, everybody will be talking about PHP. But if you say big data, Hadoop, they look like alien words to them. right? And all of a sudden, if somebody tells Hadoop, oh, it's a very high paying job, everybody will start going into training. And I've seen, I don't want to take the name of the institutes, I have seen an institute in that region, in Chandigarh region, which is teaching, which is claiming to be an Hadoop experts, teaching students Hadoop cluster on a one node and telling them this is how it runs in production. One machine runs in production, running one data node, one name node, one job tracker on a single machine, standalone machine, right? And the surprising thing is, in this information age, how can you bluff people? Because let's say if I'm a student, I may not be knowing about big data. I may not be knowing about the technology which I'm learning about. I'm going to an institute. If he tells me something, can't I go and search on Google, do a double check, right? I should do my self inquiry. I should ask multiple people. Always ask the tough questions, right? Always ask the tough questions to yourself also and also to the instructors, right? Ask for practical examples. When somebody says you can run your entire Hadoop cluster in production on one system, then ask is where the scalability, how much data you can process, how it is different than running a single independent node, right? So thing is, the success lies in your hand. The training institutes or the teachers, they will only give you a guidance, but you have to work by yourself. Very important to understand. So reach out to me for any questions you have. Many times people reach out to me, they will say, I want to do this, I want to do this, whether you teach that. I will simply say, I teach these things, but I do not teach to everyone. So I will tell you, learn these things before, then come to me, I will help you out. I will point you who can teach you all these things, what things I can teach you, you can learn from me, and what will be your expectations. Right? All things will be clear. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best. Happy learning, and wish you all the best in whatever field you choose. Bye bye. Thank you.